Welcome to Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
To ask Nova, we must gather power from all the stars around us. It will be difficult, Kirby, but you can do it. We are counting on you. Marx, the Cosmic Jester.
I'm Kira.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're talking about Kirby today.
Yep. We've had a lot of high-stakes episodes lately, so we're doing something a little bit lower stakes.
Yep.
Although you'd be surprised, one of the games kind of doesn't adhere to that. We'll get to it.
Yep.
So Kirby's story is mostly one of the present. There's not a lot of backstory to go on. Things have always just been kind of like a happily ever after sort of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess we should do like a rundown of like some people and places that might be recurring, right?
All right, sure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Kirby is an alien. Kirby is like this pink puffball creature. And there definitely seems to be more than one Kirby. Like, Kirbys are like a species. But there seem to be very few of them. They're a very rare one. Mm-hmm. And there's one of them that's just known as Kirby. It's the Kirby. It's kind of like Mario, where they named a Yoshi. Well, they named a Kirby. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, do you know why it's called Kirby?
Why?
Nintendo named the pink puffball Kirby after their lawyer who helped defend Donkey Kong from Universal suing them for ripping off King Kong. His name was John Kirby, so they named the creature after him.
That's funny. I did not know that.
But Kirby ultimately was created because Mario was too aged up. They wanted to get to an even younger audience. Mm-hmm. Which is why Kirby games tend to be pretty easy most of the time.
Yep. Although I can tell you I probably couldn't do well in them.
Which ones?
I'm just bad at platforming.
It's very easy. The copy abilities, that's the thing with Kirby. Kirby can eat enemies and then take their powers and use them for himself. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. I always loved that about Kirby.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Kirby's on this planet. It's called Planet Popstar. Mm-hmm. The planet looks like a star, like a 5-pointed yellow star. Mm-hmm. And the region, or actually the country on Popstar that Kirby lives in is called Dreamland.
Yep.
It's ruled by a tyrannical king named King DDD. What else? Planet Popstar has a moon that is actually crescent-shaped. Mm-hmm. And it has a sun, but the sun revolves around Popstar instead of the other way around. So I guess Kirby's a very, like, heliocentric point of view or something. And then, yeah, of course, there's a whole galaxy of stuff outside that planet. There are several games where Kirby literally goes to other planets. Stars are a big thing. Stars have magical powers. There's, like, magic all throughout this universe.
Yep.
So less science, but very spacey. Space magic.
Space magic.
Anything else you want to contribute?
That's a good description of Kirby magic. Space magic.
Yes. All right, you want to get into this?
All right.
All right, let's start with the first game, 1992, Kirby's Dream Land.
Mm-hmm. Kirby has to stop King DDD, who stole all the food in Dreamland. And that's the story.
That's the entire story?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, tyrannical king steals all the food. Mm-hmm. What about the food you find in the game? I'm guessing he missed some?
I don't know, I guess.
Are there any female characters in Kirby at all?
Later on,
okay,
maybe.
But not yet. Kirby is a man for some reason. They always refer to Kirby as he.
Yep.
Why, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then King DDD as a king. I guess that makes sense.
Yep. But do you want to go over the bosses?
Yeah, just list them and I'll give like a brief explanation if I know of them.
All right. Wispy Woods.
Wispy Woods is probably one of the most iconic bosses in the Kirby franchise. It's the living forest, or the living tree. A tree with a face that blows at you and throws apples at you. Mm-hmm. And there's multiple of these. Like, that's why I said forest. Like, there are multiple Wispy Woods.
Mm-hmm. Lo, 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 and la, la, la.
They're not quite Kirby, but imagine Kirby's proportions, and they push around blocks and stuff. And they're I guess La 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 is a female or feminine.
I don't know.
So yeah, they're kind of a couple.
Kabula.
I don't remember that one.
Kabula is the cannon. Is a sentient cannon thing from like I think Meta Knight's ship or something.
You sure it's not the blimp?
Oh yeah, that's.
It's the blimp.
Oh yeah,
it's the living blimp. Okay.
Yeah, the living blimp. There's Krakow, which is
yeah, that's another popular one. It's a living eyeball in a thundercloud with lightning spikes coming out of it.
Yep.
It's a pretty interesting design.
And then King DDD,
the big Duck King himself.
Well, isn't he more of a penguin?
Oh yeah, I guess that makes more sense. I just knew he was a bird of some sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a big overweight penguin. And he can like inhale just like Kirby does, but he doesn't have a copy of power.
Yep. All right, 1993, Kirby's Adventure. Do you want to go over this one? Or?
Nah, you do it.
So, an evil entity named Nightmare corrupts the Fountain of Dreams, which provides restful sleep to the residents of Dreamland. King DDD steals the star rod that powers the fountain and gives pieces of it to his friends. Kirby sets out to collect the pieces. When Kirby defeats DDD and returns the rod to the fountain, he finds out that King DDD did it to stop Nightmare from spreading bad dreams. So Nightmare goes into outer space to spread bad dreams, and then Kirby follows him and uses the star rod's power to defeat him.
Huh, okay, so there's this evil being called Nightmare, and King DDD's solution was just to like, okay, you know what, no more dreams anymore. No more dreams. We're not. No, it's scary. We're just don't sleep. And then Kirby's like, well, what if we go and like actually confront the nightmare? So this game seems to be almost about confronting your fears.
Maybe, yeah.
But King Dedede wasn't completely evil. He was just misguided. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe that's a statement on kings. I don't know.
Maybe.
And then bosses for this one, go through them.
Wispy Woods.
Again.
Paint Roller.
What's that one?
It's like a sentient paint roller.
Okay.
It fights with paint. At least that's what I think.
All right.
Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright.
What are those?
It's the sun and moon. It's the characters of the sun and moon.
Is it the sun and the moon itself, or like are they gods, or like are they cosmic objects?
It doesn't say. They just appear as the sun and moon. That's what they look like.
Okay, so
Mr.
now
Shine is the sun, and I think Mr. Bright is the moon.
All right, we know they're sentient now.
Krakow, again. Heavy Mole.
A giant mole, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Meta Knight.
So, Meta Knight's interesting. So this is Meta Knight's first appearance.
Oh, yes.
Now, Meta Knight, you find this out in later games, if you crack the mask that Meta Knight's wearing. Meta Knight is a Kirby. Mm-hmm. But unlike other Kirbys, Meta Knight doesn't like going around doing copy powers and whatnot. Meta Knight has his own sword, has like these bat wings, a mask. He is a honorable warrior. That's what he describes himself as. Mm-hmm. But he's also very into automation. He has like a whole like mechanized warship
called the Halberd.
Yeah. So he's kind of a big deal. He's not evil like King Dedede.
He just tends to challenge Kirby a lot.
Right, but also he has his own agenda at all times.
Mm-hmm. All right, then King Dedede.
Of course.
And Nightmare.
What was Nightmare like?
It was like a formless thing that you fight. It wasn't really like, it was like what you'd expect Nightmare to look like.
All right.
All right.
Next is 1993, Kirby's Pinball Land.
All right. It's a pinball game where the objective is simply to get to the next level and defeat bosses. And there are 3 bosses, Wispy Woods, Krakow, and Poppy Bro Sr.
You get the bomb power from that guy.
Yeah, he's just like a
bigger
souped
one.
up enemy of the same type.
All right, that one was simple. 1994, Kirby's Dream Course.
It's a golf game with power-ups and King DDD as the final boss, and it includes a 2-player mode. There's a special level where you fight King DDD, and he's the only boss.
You fight him in golf?
Yes, you use a golf course. He has his own special course where you have to defeat him.
Okay.
All right.
Now, most of these games are going to be blah, but we'll get to something cool eventually.
Mm-hmm. All right.
1995, Kirby's Avalanche.
It's a Kirby Puyo Puyo game.
Which is like a puzzle kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a Japanese sort of Tetris-like game where you have these little gel blobs that fall and you have to match the colors. An avalanche tournament is arranged for all the people of Dreamland to compete in. They call Puyo Puyo Avalanche in this game. Kirby beats the others in the tournament until he faces King DDD at the Dream Fountain. So, yeah.
Didn't you say Kirby was like a... There was some competitive game. Was it this one that you said Kirby kind of had attitude?
Oh, yes. In this game, Kirby probably talks more than any of the other games because he actually, trash talks and says stuff to each opponent before he faces them.
Do you remember any of it? I wish I had quoted that at the top.
No, you saw it. Yeah, it's just throwaway lines like, oh, you're gonna lose, or you better get your skills better at Avalanche, stuff that.
But even that's kind of extreme for Kirby, because since Kirby almost never says anything.
Yep.
Probably, prior to doing this episode, the most I had ever heard Kirby talk was when Kirby said Falcon Punch.
But yeah, that's what those were.
All right. 1995, Kirby's Dream Land 2.
The rainbow bridges that connect the 7 rainbow islands have been stolen by an evil force called Dark Matter, who has possessed King DDD.
Oh, what did that look like?
It was also a darkness, but it was I believe a big eyeball in it.
So was King DDD have an aura around him or something?
Yes, I think so. Oh. All right. Keep in mind, I haven't looked at all the art for these bosses.
You did the research, so you've looked at more than I have.
True. All right. Kirby defeats the possessed King DDD and then Dark Matter before creating a new rainbow. And this is the first game where Kirby has friends.
Yeah, they're like
animal friends.
Yeah, animal friends that Kirby can befriend instead of using copy powers. Mm-hmm. I think in the early games, copy powers weren't necessarily a thing, and that's why they had the animal friends, wasn't it?
I don't...
And in the black and white Game Boy games?
I think that might have been the case, but he still inhaled them and stuff, though. So
I don't know.
I don't
know. I haven't played those in such a long time, but animal friends, you got Rick the hamster, Coo the owl, and Kind the ocean sunfish.
Yep.
They are exactly what their titles claim to be.
Yep. All right, bosses. Wispy Woods.
As usual.
Ruff and Nelly.
What's that?
Are basically these different types of enemies you fight that are they're just weird creatures. I don't know how to describe them. They're kind of like dogs, I guess.
Yeah, they sound like dogs. Okay,
yeah.
Next.
All right, Sweet Stuff.
What's that?
That is a big, tubby, sort of reptilian creature. And it's funny that they call it Sweet Stuff.
Oh, the name is not applicable.
Yeah, Ice Dragon. Now, this is
an ice dragon?
A very cutesy dragon.
Oh.
And then Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright again, Krakow, King DDD, and Dark Matter.
All right. 1995, Kirby's Block Ball.
It's a Kirby breakout game.
What's breakout?
Oh, it's that game where you have the bricks at the top of the screen, and then you have a paddle at the bottom and a ball.
Game. Yeah.
King DDD steals the 5 sparkling stars, and Kirby's goal is to get them back. It includes typical Kirby power-ups and boss battles. So the bosses are Poppy Bros Sr., Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright, Krakow, Wispy Woods, Kabula, and Brobo.
It's Kabula.
Kabula.
Yeah.
And Brobo.
Wait, Brobo. Brobo's a new one. What's Brobo?
I don't know.
Okay. Miss, I did the research.
Yes, but there are so many bosses and they're all just weird creatures.
That's what's cool about Kirby. They're all aliens.
Yeah.
Okay, the next game, though. This is the big
You
one.
want to do this one?
1996, Kirby Superstar. And it was remade later in 2008 as Kirby Superstar Ultra. This is the best Kirby game of all time. I spent so much of my childhood playing it. Like, and I'm not just saying it like, oh, I'm biased. This is the Kirby game I played the most. No, I played other Kirby games after this. This is what got me into Kirby. And all the other ones were a little bit of a letdown from this. I mean, some of the other ones are still pretty good, but like this one was amazing. All right, yeah, let's just get into it.
All right. There are 7 game modes, each with their own little plots and gameplay.
So much to do in this game.
Spring Breeze is a bit of a simpler remake of Kirby's Dream Land with the same plot of King Dedede stealing all the food in Dreamland.
Yeah, but it's also a race. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's a different one. My bad.
Yeah. And the bosses are Wispy Woods, Low Low Low, and La La La, Kabula, Krako, and King Dedede.
All right, then we have another game mode called Dynablade.
And Kirby's goal is to stop a giant bird named Dynablade from ruining Dreamland's crops. The only boss is Dynablade.
Well, it's not just a bird, it's a robot bird.
Yeah.
That thing was terrifying to me as a child. Because it would always, like, move around. You have to, like, chase down. It could attack you. And then, like, it could, like, grab you with its talons and fly off with you. That thing was... And, like, the way it moved was so, like it moved like a bird, but not quite because it was a robot. Like, like, the way its neck would turn, that always creeped me out. We'd be like, oh, no, run. Because this game is multiplayer. Like, Kirby can eat a copy ability and then turn that ability back into an enemy. But that enemy will be controlled by the second player. So it's more like an ally.
Yep. All right, gourmet race. Kirby must race against King Dedede while eating as much food as possible, and the only competitor is King Dedede.
Yeah, that one's simple, but that one was fun. And you know what? The music for that one is probably the best Kirby music of all time.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, is it it's the gourmet song.
Dun, 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 na, 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 na. Sorry.
All right, the Great Cave Offensive.
Ooh, this one's cool.
Yeah, an adventure mode where Kirby falls into a cave and collects treasure before escaping the cave. These treasures often reference other Nintendo games or valuable items that appeared in RPGs at the time.
How do you win this one again?
You defeat the bosses.
You have to defeat all of them?
Yeah, but your score depends on how many treasures you collected.
Oh. But this one was cool because, like, it was the closest Kirby had to, like, an open world game. Where, you know, it's still a 2D side scroller, but not just left and right, it's up and down as well. And you had, like, basically this huge giant level, and you'd have to, like, uncover it. You'd even have, like, a map that you could check. And the whole point of it was to go exploring. So it's essentially, if you ask me, like, what would a 2D side scroller open world game look like, this is what I would say. So yeah, the bosses...
Our fatty whale.
Oh, yeah, that was just like a giant whale that would flop on you and create tsunamis and stuff. He was annoying.
Computer virus.
One of the best bosses ever. It was basically an RPG. These windows would pop up with like little different stats and stuff, that some of which didn't really make sense for the game. And then like you'd have to like do turn-based combat between whatever they summoned. There was like a wizard, a knight, and then like the hardest one would be this giant dragon that it would summon. But again, it was just in a window with like a sprite. And if you beat it, it's like Kirby's experience went up, Kirby's fluffiness went up, Kirby's charisma went up by 3.
A Cameleo arm.
Oh, that's just like a chameleon.
Yep. Wham Bam Rock.
Yeah, that was like a giant golem.
All right. Revenge of Meta Knight.
This is where like Meta Knight's story is first really elaborated upon.
All right, Kirby has to destroy Meta Knight's ship, the Halberd, before Meta Knight conquers Dreamland. Kirby repeatedly attempts to land on the Halberd, but is thrown off and must try again after defeating a boss each time. And at the end, Kirby then duels Meta Knight on the crash-landing Halberd and wins.
Right, but it's an actual duel. Like Meta Knight won't. Like Meta Knight gives you a sword and won't fight you until you pick it up.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting. His whole like chivalrous nature. But like this is like very different from most Kirby games. This whole section here is all about automation and mechanization. There's robots all over the place, especially on the ship. Even at the end, when you finally beat Meta Knight and destroy the ship, you literally have to run and escape before it crashes into the ocean.
Yep. All right, so the bosses are Heavy Lobster.
That was this giant robot lobster-looking thing. I mean, it didn't really look like a lobster. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's obviously not designed to look like a lobster, but if you kind of squint, you can kind of see it.
All right, Twin Woods.
Oh, is that just 2 Wispy Woods?
Yep, okay. Wispy Woods.
Another one.
Main Cannon number 2.
Oh, that's like the cannon on the top of the halberd.
Yeah.
That's, like, if you ever played Super Smash Bros. And that thing was trying to hit you, that's what that was.
Reactor.
Because when you get to the reactor core, you have to fight it because it's shooting lasers at you.
Yep, and then Meta Knight.
Yep.
All right.
Next is Milky Way Wishes. This is the big one.
All right, so the Sun and Moon begin fighting.
Which I'm guessing is because they're sentient gods.
Maybe, yeah. And Kirby is told by a jester named Marks that to stop it, he must ask the giant comet Nova for help. In order to do this, however, he must collect the 7 power stars from the 7 planets near Popstar. Kirby collects the stars and is about to make his wish to Nova when Marks pushes him out of the way and wishes for control of planet Popstar.
So just a bit of detail about this. Marks is a jester, but Marks seems to be another Kirby. Just one that has like the beam ability and one that's like a jester. Nova is like a just giant comet, but it's obviously an artificial one.
It's a mechanized
It's
thing.
basically an ancient alien.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has the power to grant one wish every time it appears. And it only appears once, like every 1,000 years or so.
We'll see more. Another one.
Oh, we will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marks reveals that he tricked the Sun and Moon into fighting and that this was all part of his plan for world domination. Kirby's previously collected stars turn into a starship so he can destroy Nova, which is orbiting Popstar now. Kirby catches up to Nova when Nova is stopped by the Sun and Moon and then destroys Nova's core. Marks then attacks Kirby and he destroys both Marks and Nova before warping back to Popstar.
So is the idea that Kirby had to literally destroy Nova the comet in order to take away Marx's ultimate power?
I believe so, yes.
And that's why even though Marx had like corrupted and transformed into this like demon entity, like you should look up pictures, Marx becomes so scary.
Marks didn't attack Kirby until Kirby defeated the Nova.
Right, but if Kirby had gone straight after Marx, Kirby would have stood no chance. Kirby had to take out Nova
Probably.
to basically nullify his immortality.
I would think that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
All right, so the bosses are Twin Woods, Fatty Whale, Krakow, Cameleo Arm, Wham Bam Rock, Heavy Lobster, Computer Virus, Nova Nucleus.
Which is when you fight Nova.
Yeah, and then Marks.
The fight with Marx is so scary. The battlefield is constantly panning to the left because Kirby is running away from Marx the whole fight, all the while trying to fight Marx, since Marx is chasing after Kirby.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And then when you kill Marx, you splice him in half, and he does this blood-curdling scream like... This is important details.
Okay. All right, the arena. Kirby.
So this is another game mode.
Kirby battles every boss that has appeared in the game. Bosses: Cameleo Arm, Combo Cannon, Computer Virus, Dino Blade, Fatty Whale, Galactic Nova Nucleus, Heavy Lobster, King DDD, Krakow, Lo 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 and La La La, Meta Knight, Reactor, Twin Woods, Banana Waddle Dee, Wispy Woods.
Bandana Waddle Dee, that's King Deity's second in command, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wispy Woods, Wham Bam Rock, and Marks.
All right. Next, we have Samurai Kirby. That's the next game mode.
Timing minigame where you have to attack your opponent quickly. The bosses are King DDD and Meta Knight.
Oh, is that the one where like you have the sword, you have to make
Yeah.
the slash?
Yeah.
That was fun.
All right, Mega 10 Punch timing minigame where you try to crack through the entire planet. Bosses Banana Waddle Dee, Knuckle Joe, and Iron Ma'am.
It's like karate with the bricks, except the brick is the planet.
Yep.
It's fun.
All right, so the game was remade for the DS in 2008 and added game modes. So these are the added game modes in Kirby Superstar Ultra.
Including Revenge of the King.
King DDD wants a revenge for Spring Breeze. This is a repeat of Spring Breeze with longer stages and tougher enemies. Bosses Wispy Woods, Lo 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 and La La La, Krako, Kabula, Banana Waddle Dee, and Mass DDD.
Wait, who's Mass DDD?
Oh, it's King DDD with a metal mask.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was a different character.
Nope.
He just has armor on.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, Kabula is like the same as, it's that, what it was
The
it?
blimp.
Yeah, the blimp.
Okay, so you have Meta Nightmare Ultra. What is this?
Meta Knight wants to become the strongest warrior in the galaxy.
You play as Meta Knight this time?
Yep,
This is
in
awesome.
order to do this, he plays through each of the modes in the original Kirby Superstar with some alterations in gameplay to go through Dreamland until he reaches the Halberd and uses it to fly to other planets to retrieve the 7 power stars. His goal is to revive the destroyed Nova so he can wish to fight the greatest warrior in the galaxy. So he revives Nova, and Nova grants his wish, summoning Galactonite, who was sealed away because of his overwhelming power.
So Galactonite is some being from the distant past then.
Yep.
And since Meta Knight's a Kirby and Galactonite's much like Meta Knight, Galactonite may be the first Kirby.
Maybe. Meta Knight then duels and defeats Galactonite, then returns to planet Popstar, safe in the knowledge that he is the greatest warrior in the universe.
Good for you, Meta Knight. Good for you. Go ahead and be broken in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Have fun.
All right, bosses. Chameleon Arm?
Well, it's the same bosses as in it's all the other game modes, just plus Galactonite.
Yep.
All right, next game mode, Helper to Hero.
You battle through 14 of the game's bosses as one of Kirby's helpers instead of Kirby.
So this is interesting. So the different creatures that you can eat and become like or take their ability, instead you play as those creatures.
Well, you play as the
Friendly versions.
yeah, as the friendly ones you can make from the power up.
All right.
And those helpers are Biospark, Birdon, Blade Knight, Bunkers, Bugsy, Burning Leo, Capsule J and Capsule J2, Chili, Gim, Knuckle Joe, Parasol
Jim.
Waddle
Jim.
Dee. Oh, Knuckle Jim.
No, it's Chili, Jim,
Oh.
Knuckle Joe, and then
Parasol Waddle Dee, Plasma Wisp, Poppy Bros Jr., Rocky, Smear, Sir Kibble, Starship, Sword Knight, Tack, Waddle Doo, and Wheelie.
and the bosses are the same bosses as normal, except there's also Wham Bam Jewel, who seems to be a jewel version of the Rock Golem.
Yeah.
I think it has an actual like face though. I think it's the being that built the golem.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the Wham Bam King.
Ah.
All right, the true arena, an even harder version of the arena with extra bosses and a new version of Marks called Mark's Soul.
Right, so you'll go through fighting all those bosses again, including Galactonite. Mm-hmm. But then after that, Marx's soul comes back to life. Probably because you revived Nova.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I'm not sure if there's an actual explanation in game.
I assume that's what it means. 'Cause since you revived Nova, Marx's soul comes back, and you have to fight Marx again and put Marx down.
Yep.
But I'm guessing he's still not immortal because stuff happen.
Yep.
It's complicated.
All right. So, Kirby Card Swipe, timing minigame where you have to select the matching card first.
Next is Kirby on the Draw.
Shooting range minigame scored on the amount of valid targets hit.
And then Snack Tracks.
Minigame where Kirby is at the end of the conveyor belt and must eat as many edible food items as he can. And that's where he goes against other Kirbys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so before we move on, or before we finish this out, I want to talk about Kirby Superstar is obviously a great game. There's so much we had to talk about right there.
Yeah.
We spent as much time on Kirby Superstar as all the other games combined, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, though, you might see this online. There are people that have written up theories about it, and once you hear about it, it's hard not to see. It's hard to unsee it. Mm-hmm. But Kirby Superstar seems to be a critique on Marxism's evolution into Stalinism. It's a game about communism.
In Milky Way wishes specifically.
No, the whole game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think about this, Kira?
It's interesting. It's definitely worth thinking about.
Now, okay, so listeners, let me pitch this to you, right?
Oh,
so if you know any,
you have to.
Yes.
We have so many other games to go through.
No, we don't. Kirby Superstar is like the last game, right?
What are you talking about? No.
There were other Kirby games after that?
Yes, a lot more.
Well, we don't need to talk. This is the important one. We're done after this. Fine, we'll do other ones. But anyway, so, okay, if you know anything about the history of the Soviet Union, this is where this comes in, right? So one of the first game modes, Kirby has to go fight King Dedede and overthrow the ruler of Dreamland, the country that Kirby calls home. Mm-hmm. If Kirby represents the people's wishes, King Dedede is the Tsar of Russia. Mm-hmm. He's overthrowing the Tsar.
Okay.
I don't really know what the Great Cave Offensive might be, but that could be the Russian Revolution.
Okay.
Because it's just chaotic.
All right.
And everyone's fighting everyone. And then the Revenge of Meta Knight. Meta Knight's a capitalist. He's America.
Okay.
Automation. He has robots. And he has a ship that he sends over to Dreamland just to mess with them. Uh-huh. And Kirby's like, not this is basically World War I. Meta Knight's bringing World War I to the Russian Revolution. And Kirby's like, no, we don't have time for that.
Okay. And
then Milky Way wishes. We have Marx. Come on. Marx. Karl Marx. Come on. Do you see it now?
Okay.
Do you see it?
Okay, sure.
Marx is coming along with the idea of of communism, of revolution, right? Of the current state. Now the Tsar's already been overthrown, King Dedede, right? Uh-huh. Meta Knight, he's been dealt with, the capitalism, right? Uh-huh. So Marx comes up and is like, hey, we could fix the sun and the moon and everything Friday. We can fix this little war that's going on, right? Uh-huh. If you just go and get the stars from all the people around. He's saying you need to get support of the people. So Kirby goes on his adventure to get the stars, i.e., to get people's support for a cultural revolution. Uh-huh. And at the end, when you meet Nova and Marx wishes for ultimate power, we see a corruption of Marx's original ideas to what it would end up becoming through Leninism and then eventually Stalinism and the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. The Marx's corrupted demon form is the Soviet Union.
Okay.
And that's why he's so terrifying. And the game is pointing that out. That, I mean, sure, the game has Marx being a little deceptive, but I think that's a retroactive justification for Marx's corruption. Mm-hmm. You only find that out after Marx becomes evil. Mm-hmm. And that's really Marx's take on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So you then have to put him down, and then Marx comes back a second time, right? Mm-hmm. Marx's soul, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe That's a reference of the post-Soviet Union past the Berlin Wall prior to its collapse in 1991, which, for the record, is 2 years before the first Kirby game. It all connects.
You sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Well, you know what? Some conspiracies are real.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Okay. I said my piece. I just want to point out that we have a friend named Rose who's pretty knowledgeable about some of this stuff, the different ideas behind communism, like Marxism, Stalinism, Leninism, who when we found this out, we went to her and asked for some insight on that, and she helped flesh it out for us. I mean, we noticed it ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw some stuff online, but Rose was a big help in that. So thank you, Rose, if you're listening. Mm-hmm. Do we have to talk about the other games?
What? Yes.
Okay, fine. What's next?
1997, Kirby Star Stacker. It's a Kirby Tetris game where you have your friends Rick the hamster, Coo the owl, and Kind the sunfish.
All right, now let me explain why this Kirby Tetris game was really an allegory for the destruction of fascism. Uh-huh. I'm totally joking.
All right.
It's all downhill from here.
All right, 1997, Kirby's Dream Land 3. Kirby must defeat dark matter that has possessed bosses in darkened Dreamland. Then he must defeat the controller of dark matter, Zero. Because apparently dark matter is just the force. It's not actually...
He has an avatar.
I guess. I don't know. All right, friends. Rick the hamster, Coo the owl, Kind the sunfish, Choo Choo the octopus, Pitch the bird, Nago the cat, and Gooey, which is like a slime thing.
Oh, so there's even more friends.
Yep. Bosses, Acro.
Wait, do you want to talk about who these bosses are? There's a lot of new ones.
There's a lot of new ones, but I mean, I'm just gonna go through them.
Okay.
Acro, Adeline, Dark Matter, Ice Dragon, King DDD, Krakow, Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright, Pawn and Con, Sweet Stuff, Wispy Woods, and Zero.
All right. 2000, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards.
You skipped.
I skipped one that deserved skipping.
Okay.
You put a remake on here. It's just a remake.
All right.
Anyway, 2000, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards.
A great...
Oh, this was a good game, because in this one, Kirby has the ability to combine two different powers and make combo powers. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you get the fire power and the sword power, it becomes the fire sword.
Yep.
And you know what's the funniest one?
What?
Get fire power and ice power. Kirby becomes the melting ice block. He turns into an ice block and melts.
Really?
It's completely useless.
That's funny. All right, a great crystal on the planet Ripple Star is shattered by dark matter, who wish to use the crystal for evil, into 74 shards. The fairy Ribbon and Kirby set out to collect all the shards, and when they do, they defeat miracle matter, which causes dark matter to explode. The star, however, absorbs some dark matter energy from the Fairy Queen and becomes the Dark Star. The Fairy Queen is like the leader of the planet Ripple Star. Becomes the Dark Star. Kirby and Ribbon defeat Zero 2 and the Dark Star.
So Zero 2 is just the new form of Zero, the guy who was behind dark matter?
Yes.
What does Zero look like? Such an anonymous name.
I think that's on purpose. It has a couple... I think it
forms.
I think it looks different, but I think it's mostly just an eye from what I remember. There's a lot of eye enemies in the game. But anyway, so the only friend you have is Ribbon.
Who's Ribbon?
It's your companion, the
fairy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the bosses are Waddle Doo, Adeline, King DDD, Wispy Woods, Pix, Acro, Magman, HRH, Miracle Matter, and Zero 2.
I like the idea for this game, not just because of the cool gameplay mechanic of combining powers, but I like the idea of before dark matter was always attacking Dreamland, like they're taking our dreams, but this one it's like, oh, they're taking the dreams of another planet. We could just not worry about it. No, let's go help them out.
Well, they aren't taking the dreams. There's the great crystal
Well, okay.
that is
they were,
their source of power.
right. They were taking the dreams from Dreamland. The other planet, they're taking their power instead. Like they have a different resource they're trying to exploit.
Okay. 2001, Kirby Tilt and Tumble. Kirby has to collect the stars that King DDD has stolen. Bosses, King DDD, Krakow, and Orbservor.
What's that?
That is literally an orb that looks like an eye that watches you and shoots laser beams at you.
What if like there was some conspiracy that like all the different eye-related creatures, this thing, Zero, Krakow, what if they were all like the same creature?
That'd be funny. All right, 2002, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. It's a remake of Kirby's Adventure for the Game Boy Advance. They added a mode to play through the game as Meta Knight, but the story is the same as Kirby's Adventure, so the same bosses.
Okay, so that's the one where you go against Nightmare. Mm-hmm. 2003, Kirby Air Ride. Second best Kirby game. Second best.
It's a Kirby racing game on the GameCube. There are 3 different modes. Air Ride, which is the normal racing mode with a bunch of courses.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of courses. You do these rides. Now, one thing you forgot to mention is in different Kirby games, Kirby will ride some type of star. The typical one is a warp star. They're what they use for vehicles. In this game, there's so many different choices of different types of stars to ride. It's really cool. And you get to pick your color Kirby, your car, and the racetrack, and you go and race. And you can get copy powers while you're racing that will give you extra options when you're doing the race to fight.
Yep. All right. There's Top Ride, which is another racing mode with power-ups on smaller courses. So it's like more of a battle mode because you get the power-ups and the courses are smaller to enable you to like fight with or do some stuff to others.
Okay.
And then there's City Trial, a free roam mode where you pick up as many patches as possible to power up your machine before the stadium event. You can also abandon your vehicle and go on a different one at any time. There's also a free run mode that just lets you cruise around the city.
I loved this. City Trial was amazing. You play it?
Yeah, I played it a lot. I actually know a lot of the secrets in the city because of...
I know every single one.
Yeah.
I unlocked everything.
Yeah.
And I played this one so much. This one was really good with friends. Yeah, because basically you have a timed allotment of being in the city where you just have to go around and compete for resources and try to like bulk up and stock up.
Yeah, because there are these like little patches that are power-ups for your vehicle.
Yeah, you want to boost your stats as much as possible. It's like you're training right before the fight. But here's the thing. You have no idea what the fight's going to be. There's going to be a challenge at the end, and you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, there are several different ones. There's one where gliding is important. There's one where like speed is important, and others. And
you have to try to find a car too. You don't get to start with one.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Their cars are distributed around a city stage, and you have to go and get whichever one you want.
Not only that, there's also events that happen. Sometimes like beings, like other creatures from other games will appear and try to like fight and steal things from you.
Yep.
Sometimes it'll be like weather events, and like Dynablade will touch down and start attacking at one point.
Oh my god, I remember. That only happens
terrifying.
if you go to the top area above the city, right?
No, it's random.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different biomes of places you can go to. That was really fun.
Yeah, there's a volcano area, a forest area, then there's like the big factory area.
There's the city, there's the factory waste disposal site, there's a water castle, there's a volcano, there's the woods, there's a platform area, and then there's the sky dome.
Yep. All right.
Wait. I'm not done yet. There's also 2 secret cars.
Oh, yeah.
But they're divided into 3 different pieces. And
You
people
have
will
to
collect them.
Yeah, and you have to fight each other for the 3 pieces if you want to put it together to have the best car.
If anyone gets all 3 pieces, they can combine into a supercar. And if you get this, you're almost certainly going to win, assuming you get the right kind of minigame.
Yes, because one of them is
A final challenge, I mean.
one of them is extremely fast, and the other one I think is extremely good at gliding.
Oh, right, yeah, because like different cars have different rules. For example, like there's one that doesn't turn. You always have to stop and turn. There's one that accelerates. So like there's this one challenge game that's a drag race, and that acceleration car is the best one.
Yeah.
The superstar is a kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of them that were really good. But these 2 big ones, like the Hydra, it doesn't move. You have to charge it.
Yeah.
So like a funny thing about this is like when you're on the drag race, for example, right?
Yeah.
Everyone else will blast off and you just have to sit there charging your vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And then about like halfway through the race when everyone else is like trying to fight to win and you haven't even started, then you press go and you just blast forward at like super speed.
Yep.
Now there's also Dragoon. That's the other one.
Yeah, that's the gliding one.
If the final challenge is one where you have to fly and like do expert flying maneuvers, Dragoon will see you through it better than anything else because Dragoon can stay in the air longer than anything else. Mm-hmm. And if that sounds familiar to you, yes, the Dragoon appears in Super Smash Bros. And insta-kills someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, fine. I'm done. Okay?
All right, 2004, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. A mirror world in the skies of Dreamland reflects a figure called Dark Mind. It creates an evil, reflected world. Dark Meta Knight slices Kirby into 4 different colored Kirbys that all go to the mirror world after Dark Meta Knight.
Okay, to rephrase that, basically, now there's an alternate evil universe of the Kirby world, right?
Yes.
And the evil version of Meta Knight. So Meta Knight already wasn't a cool guy. So the evil one now, who's even worse, decides to try to kill Kirby by cutting him and just... Apparently that's how Kirby reproduces, by binary fission.
Yeah. All right. Meta Knight goes to save the mirror world, but is defeated by Dark Meta Knight. And so Dark Meta Knight cuts the amazing mirror, which is the portal, the special portal, into 8 fragments Kirby must collect to save Meta Knight and the mirror world from Dark Mind. And so Kirby collects them and defeats Dark Meta Knight, then Dark Mind.
Yeah, so this one's another multiplayer one, but each person's a Kirby.
Yep.
What's really cool about this one is if you do this one on multiplayer, each person gets to play as a Kirby. You don't have to even play the same level at the same time. Everyone can like split up and do their own.
It's a pretty open world where you go through different mirrors and stuff, and you have to get the amazing mirror to go to the last level, which is your goal.
Right, but everyone can like split up and do their own things, and you can run into each other and be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
Yep.
It also, Kirby gets a cell phone that he can use to call his other.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Doing, just pulling on stuff like, hey guys, this is why I imagine Kirby's like, hey guys, can you come help me out right now? There's stuff going on. But what Kirby ends up going is like,
That's adorable. All right, so the bosses are King Golem, Molly, Krakow, Mega Titan, Gobbler, Wiz, Dark Meta Knight, Master Hand and Crazy Hand, and Dark Mind.
Yeah, Master Hand and Crazy Hand appearing is really odd.
They are like they're the evil things in this world because they were like reflect each other. That's why they're in the mirror world.
It makes you almost think that this might have something to do with the Smash storyline.
I'm not sure if Dark Mind created them or if they're just part of the mirror world and they went crazy because of it reflecting him.
It's possible the mirror world and Dark Mind are somehow related to Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, Master Hand and Crazy Hand are from the Smash story, and Kirby, like, already has a stronger connection to the Smash storyline than any other series. Like, you'll notice there have been many gameplay elements that are shared between the two franchises. But Master Hand's whole thing is that he creates worlds, and this is an alternate universe that's been created. So I can't help but wonder if the dark, evil entity behind Crazy Hand that we learned about in the more recent Smash game may have also been behind Dark Mind.
Possibly. All right, 2005, Kirby Canvas Curse. A witch named Drossia turns Dreamland into a paint world, and Kirby goes after her, which causes her to turn him into a limbless ball. The magical paintbrush left behind after Drossia escapes turns to the player to help Kirby. The player controls Kirby by using lines drawn with the magical paintbrush to guide him. You can collect medals to unlock other playable characters, which are Waddle Dee, Waddle Doo, DDD, and Meta Knight. Kirby defeats Drossia and turns Dreamland back to normal.
It sounds like a fun game, different type of gameplay. Kirby does a lot of experimentation with gameplay types after this.
Yep.
This is where they start using Kirby as kind of a test market, which is a little disappointing because I like a good old-fashioned Kirby game. I want both.
Yep. All right, bosses. King DDD, Krakow, Paint Roller, Drossia, and Drossia Soul. All right, 2006, Kirby Squeak Squad. Kirby's strawberry shortcake is stolen by a robber mice gang named the Squeaks. Kirby goes after them, and after defeating Meta Knight, who briefly stole the chest that supposedly contained his cake, the leader of the Squeaks, DeRoach, opens it and is enveloped in a dark cloud. He turns into Dark DeRoach and flies into space. Kirby defeats Dark DeRoach and the darkness leaves him, turning into a dark star that Kirby follows. He then has to fight and defeat Dark Nebula, who was created by dark matter.
I like that one. I played that one because I think it was kind of inspired by Kirby Superstar. The gameplay was pretty similar.
Ah, okay.
It was an old-fashioned kind of Kirby game.
Do you know the bosses?
I have no idea. Let's just move on. We're running out of time.
All right. 2010, Kirby's Epic Yarn. Kirby eats a tomato possessed by an evil sorcerer Yin Yarn that banishes Kirby to Patchland using a magic sock.
Is Patchland like an alternate Yarn universe?
Yes.
Okay.
Where he turns into Yarn and has the power to transform into things. Kirby then saves Prince Fluff from a monster. He explains that Yin Yarn has unraveled Patchland, which was tied together by 7 pieces of magic yarn. They then go back to Dreamland, defeat Yin Yarn, and Prince Fluff tells Kirby he can visit Patchland using Yin Yarn's magic sock. They got the 7 pieces of magic yarn.
And there's a whole bunch of like yarn-based bosses. We have no idea. Fangora, Hot Wings, Squashini, Kapamari.
I think Kapamari is a squid.
Is King Dedede and Meta Knight, are they made of yarn too?
I believe so, yes. They were probably took and put into Patchland as well.
Okay, so they're not just alternate universe yarn versions of them?
Oh, that would be interesting. I'm not sure, actually. It doesn't say.
So you're finding Yarn Dedede and Yarn a Knight.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 2011, Kirby Mass Attack. Kirby goes to the Popopo Islands in the south of Popstar and falls asleep. Kirby is split into 10 tiny copies of himself that are only a tenth as powerful as Kirby by the leader of the Skull Gang, Necrodius. He defeats 9 of the 10 Kirbys, then leaves. Kirby follows a star to get himself back together by collecting the other tiny Kirbys and eventually defeats Necrodius. Kirby used Necrodius' staff to put himself back together again.
Yeah, and the only other boss we haven't mentioned was Lady Ivy, which I'm guessing is a ripoff of Poison Ivy.
Probably. Even if it's not an actual human lady, it's probably some Ivy-themed boss. Mm-hmm. All right, Kirby's Return to Dreamland. 2011. An alien named Magolor crashes on Popstar, which gets the attention of Kirby, Banana Waddle Dee, King DDD, and Meta Knight, who all go to see what happened. They decide to help Magdalor repair a ship by collecting all the pieces for it. The Lore Star Cutter, which is what the ship is called, is repaired, and Magdalor takes them to his home planet, Halcondra, as a reward. They actually all work together during this game.
Huh.
The ship is shot down by a 4-headed dragon named Landia. Magolor asks Kirby and the others to defeat the dragon for him. They do so, splitting it into 4 separate small dragons, then head back only to find out that Magalore had them defeat Landia to get the Master Crown and conquer the universe.
So they were tricked again.
Yep. The 4 of them then ride the separated Landia dragons after Magalore and fight him, breaking the Master Crown and banishing him into a dimension between time and space. They literally call it a dimension between time and space.
Okay.
And then they return to planet Popstar, and the Laura Starcutter returns the dragons to Halkanja.
It's kind of cool, though. It's like, aha, you thought these were going to be like Western European dragons that are evil, but they're actually Eastern Japanese dragons that are good.
Yep. All right, 2012.
Now, that's just a remake.
Yeah, it's a collection.
2014, Kirby Triple Deluxe.
While Kirby is sleeping, a giant beanstalk called the Dreamstalk grows and carries away some landmarks into the sky, like Kirby's house and King Dedede's castle. Kirby wakes to find himself in Floralia and finds out Taranza, which is a spider-based creature, has captured King Dedede in the service of Queen Sictonia, who rules over Floralia. Queen Sictonia wishes to use the Dreamstalk to take over Dreamland and had Taranza kidnapped King Dedede because he was mistaken for Dreamland's hero that the Dreamstalk was supposed to bring to Floralia. Kirby chases down Taranza and reaches Queen Sictonia. When the queen finds out Taranza kidnapped the wrong person, she turns on him and he runs away. Kirby defeats Queen Sictonia, but she merges with the Dreamstalk, and then Kirby has to fight her again, but this time King Dedede and Taranza help him out, and he defeats her for the final time. Kirby finds out that the people of Floralia grew the Dreamstalk to summon the hero of Dreamland and save them from the tyranny of Queen Sictonia's rule. Everything is turned back to normal, and Kirby goes home to Dreamland with King Dedede.
Is it just me, or is Kirby constantly helping out the villains?
Yeah.
Before realizing they're villains and then tries to fix it.
Well, he doesn't actually help out the villain in this one.
Well, Kirby makes mistakes. That's what we've learned. Kirby makes mistakes.
2015.
The people make mistakes.
2015, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Kirby and Banana and Waddle Dee are playing with the colors strained from Dreamland. A paintbrush fairy named Aline, which is a woman, explains that a friend of hers, Clacia, has turned evil and stole the colors of Popstar to create 7 worlds. Aline paints a magical rope to move Kirby around as he's stuck as a ball with no limbs. They all reach Clacia and find out she is possessed by an evil force called the Dark Crafter. Kirby manages to defeat the Dark Crafter and they all return to Dreamland, bringing the color back to planet Popstar.
I do like they're making a more conscious effort to include female characters. Or feminine characters.
All right, 2016, Kirby Planet Robobot. A mothership spacecraft called Axis Arc appears, conquers, and mechanizes planet Popstar.
No! Don't do what Meta Knight wants!
Kirby is tasked with saving planet Popstar and controls the leader and confronts the leader of the Axis Arc, President Haltman, CEO of his own corporation. It's called Haltman. Haltman activates a supercomputer named Star Dream to fight Kirby. Susie, his executive assistant, who was suddenly dismissed for not stopping Kirby, tries to steal Star Dream by controlling it herself, but is knocked out by Star Dream itself. Star Dream explains that it's been studying the world through the Haltman Works Company and has determined all life forms are a liability to the company. Star Dream then launches itself into space to destroy all life forms. Susie gives Kirby a new mech suit to stop Star Dream, and Kirby does so. Kirby reveals the Axis Arc to be a galactic nova, but ultimately succeeds. The mechanization of planet Popstar is undone, and Kirby returns.
So Galactic Nova represents Europe. And this is another one. It's about capitalism.
Okay,
this is the next century of Kirby.
Can we go, please? All right.
It's animation.
2017 Kirby Battle Royale. King Dedede makes Kirby clones and has Kirby compete in a tournament against them. They're different colored Kirbys. Kirby beats all of them and then fights King Dedede and wins the prize, which he shares with all the surviving Kirbys.
Friendship.
It's a giant cake. All right, 2018, Kirby Star Allies. A dark mage named Highness intends to use a Jamba Heart to revive the Dark Lord. But the Jamba Heart is broken into many pieces, some of which land on planet Popstar and possess people. Kirby defeats these possessed people and eventually also defeats the three mage sisters, Flamberge, Francisca, and Zamparzitan, who have been helping Highness. Kirby reaches Highness, who explains that his clan was turned on by others because of their power, and he's trying to fulfill an ancient prophecy. It's complicated and ridiculous.
I don't know. I kind of like it, though. It sounds interesting.
Highness throws himself and the three mage sisters after they're defeated to revive the Dark Lord, Void Termina. Kirby destroys Void Termina with his allies, and peace is restored.
All right, so I'm going to go play that game and then tell you about how it's a metaphor for religion.
Well, I mean, okay. It might be like...
It sounds like it to me, but I don't really know.
All right, 2019
No, that's just another remake. Right? Yeah. I don't know why you put the remix on here.
All right.
All right, so we're done. We're out of time. Thank you so much for doing all that research, Kira.
No problem. I'm sorry I didn't know what the bosses looked like.
Turns out we didn't have time. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. This has been Game Theorem.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon. We have a Twitter or whatever. Bye.
Bye.